Genau, und jetzt probieren wir, testen, ob der Ton gut ist und ob das auch von der Entfernung gut ist. Wie weit die Entfernung geht. Und die Aufnahmequalität, bla bla bla. Ja, sieht doch gut aus.
But basically, I don't know how much you guys know, but this is the 14th year anniversary since the genocide took place. And it happens when the president, who was a Hutu, was shot down, his plane was shot down. No one knows who, but it was blamed on Tutsis. And after that, over 100 days, 800,000 Tutsis were murdered. And it carries on. There's lots of different ins and outs of it, but I'll leave it out to tell the story and the rest of that, and the UN and the intervention of it afterwards for discussion.
Well, basically, my family and I were living there in '94. We've been living there since '92, so for 2 years. And it was, as Olivier just said, it was a genocide where the Hutus killed the Tutsis, and it wasn't. I don't know. It was a very gruesome genocide because people were being killed on the road, in their homes, and just absolutely everywhere. And I think the thing that made it a lot worse was because they were killed with machetes. So people were literally just chopped down in the middle of the roads into pieces. And well, my family said that they were very afraid. And at this point, I was 2 years old, no, 4 years old. So I don't recall anything at all really. But my older sister, who was 12 at the time, she does. And what my father said was that they were in the house and they heard the explosion of the plane that was shot down with the president. And so the first thing that my family did was that we all moved into the bathroom because it was the safest place in the house, because it was in the center of the house, and so if in case a bomb or anything would explode onto the house, the bathroom would still stay. And so also what my father said was that there was already shooting starting to take place around the house and everything. And the first people from abroad that left Rwanda were the Americans, and they all left in their cars. And actually my family wanted to leave with them as well, but the Swiss government said that they first had to evacuate all the other Swiss people that were living more on the outskirts of the city. So my father said that that was when he saw one of like the worst sights ever was when he had to go evacuate these people, and he just literally earlier on people were just being chopped up in the middle of the road with machetes, and yeah, and then finally when the French army came into the country by force, all the people from abroad were evacuated with small parachute planes, and so obviously like nobody could take any belongings with them except for maybe like their passport, and that was it, and everything was left behind. And when my father went back around like a couple of months or like a year later, and he said, and one of my belongings that he could find was this bunny rabbit, which was very close to my heart because it had been given to me when I was born. So yeah, it means a lot to me, and that's why I decided to bring it, because it's kind of what survived.
So that's our story, and Mrs. Nan will speak
First of all, it is very difficult for me to talk about something that inside feel it is important to know because people need to learn from it and not to make the same mistake in the future. Basically, this genocide, I will not say that it just happened in 94, It's something which was built up from as early as when these people migrated to Rwanda. Basically, these are two completely different groups, and when you see the Tutsis, these are people coming from Northeast Africa, that's the Horn of Africa, and the Hutus are people coming from West Africa through Congo, and then they settled in Rwanda. And basically, they were identified differently because the Hutus were mainly farmers, cultivators, and the Tutsis were cattle keepers, and mainly trained in terms of leadership. And so when the Tutsis came, they took over and kind of made a centralized system of government, which means they were the people in control of power. And in that sense, the Hutus were kind of used as subjects to produce food for the Tutsis who were the leaders, and mainly they were supposed to plan for the government of the whole system. It was organized like a kingdom. And so that kind of cooperation and racial difference built up until Germans came to Rwanda and took over during the partition of Africa. And what happened is that it was easier to identify who is the Hutu, who is the Tutsi. And in that sense, the Germans saw that the Tutsis was kind of superior in terms of understanding and in terms of leadership than the Hutus. And they just emphasized it. And what happened is that Hutus remained farmers to produce good food for the Tutsis, and the Tutsis helped the Germans to colonize the whole of Rwanda. So as the Germans left and the Belgians came, they found the same system and they just emphasized it. And now what happened later was to identify who is the Hutu and who is the Tutsi officially. What they had to introduce was they call them racial identification cards, which are like, it indicates you are either a Hutu or a Tutsi, and how they tell someone who is a Hutu or who is a Tutsi. So to them, a Hutu was someone who is short, kind of just physically short, maybe large, while the Tutsis were people who are tall, slim, light-skinned, and just say they had big heads, which identified that they were better in terms of brain and understanding. So as they built on with identification cards, which were later used in 1994, when the president's airplane was shot down, there were like checkpoints all over the country, and they would check your identification card. So if it showed that you are a Hutu or you were a Tutsi, if you are a Hutu, you would be allowed to pass. And if you are a Tutsi, then it would probably be the end of the world for you. So these identification cards were used later for people to die. And for my case, my dad is a Tutsi and my mom is a Hutu. So I am in between. So what happened in 94, I was 5, and probably I remember what happened is that part of my family was in the West, in the Eastern Province, which is bordering Uganda. And then my dad, my mom, and my little sister, who was then 3, were just around the city. And his in-laws, who are Hutus, when things started, called him. They told him, this is happening, and they are hunting all the Tutsis. Simply because the president's plane has been crashed down, which is the president who is a Hutu, and it has been crashed down, is said to have been crashed down by the Tutsis. So they are hunting down all the Tutsis in all means, and you might not survive. So find your way out. They were so good to him because my mom is a Hutu, and they kind of, that was more of, he was more of a relative to them than just a normal person. So for his personal people, he had to leave early and left us behind. My sister and my mom and myself stayed behind for almost a month. So my dad went to Uganda, and he kept on communicating, but he was too worried to wait until he decided to send